The next step is compression. If you're not familiar with compression, here's the problem. Is somebody's talking, and sometimes they're talking really soft and quietly, and sometimes they're talking really loud. And you can see visually in the waveform here, look at how loud that is, and look how quiet this is. Look how quiet this is. Basically what a compressor is going to do is it's going to take your loudest points and pull them down, and take your quiet points and bring them up. So it's just kind of compressing it to a level range of your loud and quiet. And I can actually show you visually what this looks like. This is a before and after panel right here. The top is your original untouched audio, unchanged, and the bottom is your after it's running through all the filters you have in this chain. So if I turn this off, that's what our waveform looked like originally, and if I turn that on, this is what it looks like after the EQing. See how everything got a little bit quieter because we did a reductive EQ, so we were only pulling down volumes. That's why this one looks a little quieter than this one, but you still see big spiky points and real low laying points. I'm going to go ahead and go over here to Dynamics, FabFilter, Pro-C, any compressor, they all work. Attack and release I like to keep really fast when it's just vocal talking, which means that it's going to, as soon as the volume gets too loud, it's immediately going to attack it, and as soon as it comes back to a reasonable level, it's going to let that go really fast. I'm not going to get into too much detail on this because there's a lot of stuff for us to cover today. The ratio is how much do you want to turn it down. So once it attacks a loud part, do you want it to start turning it down by a 2-to-1 ratio, 3-to-1 ratio, 4-to-1 ratio, 5-to-1 ratio? I'm going to go ahead and just set this to a quick 4. That'll work. And then threshold. How loud does it need to get in order for us to say, okay, let's start turning it down? Right now it's at -18, which seems okay. I could probably push it down a little more. This is the part where you can't let the visuals fool you. You really just need to listen to it and make your decision based on sound. And you'll notice how much quieter everything looks now. It's already showing us the processing that has been performed by our compressor. There's makeup gain over here. That's what this output is. So we can turn everything up now. And if you look at the overall audio waveform, do you see how up here in our original, there's some real spiky loud parts and then there's some real low dip parts, and everything in this one starts to just even out. But we could press it down a little bit more, I'm sure. So we're going to listen and we're going to make that decision.
How do you get out of a mindset that says, I'm only going to have this much success because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman of color, because I was born and raised in South Central or wherever, whatever that story is that we make up? How do I unleash myself from that story and hook myself to my future? But sometimes your biggest breakthrough is in what you unlearn and then you relearn. Sometimes you have to disrupt your soil, pull your soil up, take that dry dirt that's been planted for years. I know, I've just been knowing this for years. This is what my mother taught me. This is what we've always known. You have to disrupt that.
All right, so we have our reductive EQ where we pulled out frequencies that did not sound good, and then we did our compressor where we took peak audios, pulled them down so we could turn the overall volume up. So now let's listen to a before and after of what we've done so far.
How do you get out of a mindset that says, I'm only going to have this much success because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman of color, because I was born and raised in South Central or wherever, whatever that story is that we make up? How do I unleash myself from that story and hook myself to my future? But sometimes your biggest breakthrough is in what you unlearn and then you relearn. Sometimes you have to disrupt your soil, pull your soil up, take that dry dirt.
Now, do you see how everything sounds louder and it sounds clearer and it sounds cleaner? It's kind of coming forward a little bit. And you might think to yourself, oh, well, the volume is just louder. Well, it's not actually. Go ahead, and if we turn this off and we play it, look at the audio bar down here and look where the audio's peaking at.
Pull your soil up. Take that dry dirt that's been planted for years. I know, I've just been knowing this for years. This is what my mother taught me. This is what we've always known. You have to disrupt that soil in order to plant a new seed to grow a new fruit.
Did you see how it was bouncing around between about like -6 decibels and -1 decibels, and it was hanging out in this region right here? That's how loud it was peaking at. Now look at it with our audio on, our plugins on.
And then you relearn. Sometimes you have to disrupt your soil, pull your soil up, take that dry dirt that's been planted for years. I know, I've just been knowing this for years. This is what my mother taught me. This is what we've always known. You have to disrupt that soil in order to plant a new seed to grow a new fruit.
So isn't that beautiful? You get it cleaner, it sounds louder, but it's actually peaking around -3 now. Before it was peaking at -1. So it was actually louder before, but it sounds louder and cleaner now thanks to our reductive EQ and our compression.